right, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have got Chris, the front man from TRC, with us. The revolution continues. I'm sure that many of you watching this obviously know who he is, otherwise you wouldn't be watching it. But if you don't, this band has been around for about 2 decades, had literally about 19 members. They've probably come to a city near you. They've toured in like Norway, France, Belgium. So yeah, I'm sure you guys have heard of this band. I played a bunch of festivals, Download Festival, Heavy Festival, appeared on Scuzz TV about a decade ago, which we'll definitely get into because that sounds really interesting, what was going on with Scuzz now that that channel, which used to be like even bigger than Kerrang, is now defunct, actually, that channel. And yeah, how a bunch of guys from North London, near the Camden sort of chalk farmy area, who could have gone down like the hip hop grime MC routes, ended up becoming a hardcore band made up of about 9 members and 4 singers. So Chris, yeah, you go ahead, introduce yourself, and you can talk about like your, your lifestyle coaching and everything that you do these days. Well, yeah.
Wow, I don't think I need to introduce myself. I think that was the most thorough introduction TRC have ever got. So thank you, man. That was really good. Yeah, but I'm Chris. I'm one of the singers, one of the 2 singers now. We've lost a load. There's only 2 left in TRC. 2 singers at TRC, which is a London hardcore-based band. As Dave said, away from the world of coaching. Away from the world of hardcore. I have a coaching business where I work with guys, mainly entrepreneurs and creatives, on life coaching, executive coaching. I'm a creative myself, hence being in a band. And I mean, apart from that, I'm looking forward to getting into what's coming my way. He's already said that I'm going to be doing most of the talking, so I've got a glass of water here and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, well, I know that you guys, way back, like 1998, when I was like 7 years old, the big thing that was blowing up around this time was like Korn, Slipknot, Limp Bizkit, that kind of stuff. And you were obviously maggots yourself. You were into the Slipknot stuff, and perhaps also being in North London, into the hip hop and the grime MC stuff. But what was interesting about this time is it's not like these days where like chavs wear Vans and metal kids wear Adidas trainers. These days those 2 worlds are sort of go hand in hand. You see chavs wearing scene kid clothes and you see metal kid clothes, in the mainstream fashion. But if you wore a Slipknot t-shirt in 1998, you probably got bullied and stuff. And these worlds didn't really collide. So I'm really curious how a bunch of guys who you must have been about 13 at the time, something like that, yeah, in 1998.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. How did the band come around in the early 2000s? Was it, and what was the direction to go down the Ruction Records and LBU? Because there's other bands, obviously. There's like so many, like Knuckle Dust and Bund Out and all of these other bands around. What was the main influence behind that from a bunch of guys in hoodies and tracksuits?
Yeah, well, as you say, like we were all into like the new metal, because me and Anthony met at a summer camp in North London. We went to the same school. We were in the same year, same maths class, but we didn't really talk until we bumped into each other in like year 8 in the summer camp. So we got to know each other. He's like my best friend now. And then we got into the whole world of like new metal, as you said, like Korn, Slipknot. That was my biggest band. I was actually on the MTV Fanatic show as Slipknot's biggest fan back in the day. I got to interview Slipknot as a teenager, which was good fun. And then we always listened to like rap and hip hop on the side. And then obviously grime started to come into the mainstream a bit. And I had been in various different bands in the London hardcore scene prior to TRC. And a lot of the TRC members, we all went to the same school, Mill Hill County. And we thought, you know what? And they were all into like graffiti as well. So that's like TRC originally started as a graffiti crew, hence I guess like the urban influence.
Yeah.
And then they decided to start a band. We had just started then getting into like the hardcore scene because we used to go to a metal nightclub. Can you believe such a thing exists? But we go to a metal nightclub and we started like getting to know people that were into the London hardcore scene. They said, come down to a show. And I think that was the first time we had ever seen, really heavy music being played, but the people playing it didn't look like they were into heavy music. It was like its own little thing. And that's the first time we started seeing like Burberry caps or tracksuit bottoms or Reebok classics in a mosh pit or on stage with bands like Knuckle Dust and BDF and Nine Bar. And like any impressionable like teenagers that age, you start to follow the trends within the music scene. So we moved from like wearing Slipknot hoodies and Slipknot t-shirts, all the usual stuff you'd associate with like metal, and then we kind of veered in towards wearing like Fred Perry polo shirts, tracksuit bottoms, which makes it a lot easier to mosh and spin kick in when you're in a pair of tracksuit bottoms than tight jeans. I'll tell you that. And then we formed TRC, and then we started playing shows at the London lot, and then gradually branched out, and we put our first EP out in 2004. Yeah, proper EP, 2004 on Robson Records. So they were the first kind of label to give us a bit of an opportunity to put some music out.
Yeah, Ruction, real, underground music scene. Like they're the pioneers. It's like pretty much any band that anyone's heard of who are UK hardcore or European hardcore, Ruction are probably in the mix there somewhere. And it makes a lot of sense. The hardcore scene has always been very, very unique. It's different to punk. It's different to metal. It's back in 2007, 2008, everyone had shaved heads and New Era caps and big baggy basketball shorts and these on the big camo pants. That not much has changed there really. And I can see why, it would actually make sense because you guys were still at the time very young, like 18, 19 years old. I think, were you playing drums at one point as well? Or?
Yeah, I forgot I was the original. Yeah, when we first formed, I was the drummer on the first two records. So Northwest, did I jump? No, first record, just Northwest Kings, I was the drummer. Terrible, absolutely terrible. But when I was behind the kit, I always knew I want to be out there, like I always wanted to be the front man, but there was already 4 vocalists at that stage. So I thought, let me just bide my time. And I'll wait until the band evolves. But I always knew that I wanted to be a frontman because I used to write lyrics and, quote unquote rap at home. So it made sense for me to eventually become the frontman of TRC.
Yeah, I love that urban influence. And V-Man from Slipknot, actually, whilst we're on the subject of them, he was also sort of in the same crew or same bunch of.
He was in TRC for a little while. He played with us for about 6 months. Yep. So he also, I think he recorded on one of our records. I don't know which one, or he definitely came down to help on it, which is crazy. And I'll never forget when he, appeared in Slipknot for the first time. I was thinking, my God, like how has he gone from TRC to Slipknot? Quite the jump. Yeah. But he was fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. Top bloke, and we had some good times together.
Yeah, talented musician, talented guitar tech, real professional guy.
Yep.
That's really amazing. Yeah, to see back in, what was it, 2012, 2013, when he started sort of taking over duties when they began touring again after Paul died. That's just amazing. Yeah. What a career move.
Not too bad.
Yeah. And I remember because I was about 15, 16 when I started going to hardcore shows and playing in a touring band myself. I remember that at these sort of, I call them miniature festivals. They're like festivals which are like 1 day, 2 stages, and they're usually in some kind of venue like the Islington O2, like where the main venue will have one band and then the bar downstairs around the corner will have like another band playing or something like that. I remember you guys were popping up and there was like 4 or 5 years of just like intense touring. Were you, this was probably before the coaching, before the personal training, you were balancing like a job with a pretty busy band that were about to release not only a bunch of EPs, but appear on TV and go play download and stuff. What was that like?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, it was easier for me because I was actually personal training then. So I was freelance, so I had a bit more flexibility. But obviously as a freelancer and being self-employed, when I wasn't working, I wasn't earning. So that, of course, had its own challenges. But it was something I wanted to give a go and push TRC for that period and see how far we could go. You know, I thought let's give it a pump. But for the other guys who are in employment and had, I guess you could say, a bit more not proper jobs, but you know, where they couldn't just like take unlimited time off. They had to take steps up. That was challenging. So we had to get a lot of fill-ins on some of the tours. But yeah, we went on tour for like a month one time, you know, show pretty much every single night. We toured with Lower Than Atlantis, we did Feed the Rhino, we did some really, you know, breaking out of the London hardcore scene and getting a bit more exposure nationally and playing you know, different shows, not just hardcore shows, and also, you know, in Europe as well. So it was tough. And we would come back wrecked. I mean, we just did a 4-day tour this December, and all of us were saying, how on earth did we manage to tour for 4 weeks? Because we were absolutely shattered at the end of the 4 days in December. But then, you know, I'm 36 now. I was probably like 24 back then. So I did have youth on my side.
Yeah, I actually was thinking about that yesterday. I shot a commercial yesterday because one of my jobs is I'm an actor, and I shot a commercial in Prague in the Czech Republic. And it was like ridiculous. It was like 6:30 a.m. to 9 o'clock, and I was like, hey, this would have been fine 10 years ago, but I'm like, I just want to go home.
Yeah, you feel it, man.
Yeah.
You feel it, but it's still good fun, even though you're knackered at the end of the run of shows. It's amazing, like to go to different cities, different countries, family come see you, singing along, and you know, having a chat with people after the shows. It's like, it's the best thing in the world. It's still crazy to me, like, you know, we recorded these tunes a while back. We can go to Germany, we can go to Belgium, and people say we're in their like top 3 bands of all time. It's wicked. It's really, really good. I don't take it for granted at all, you know.
Yeah, amazing. I remember a few years ago you put out a tweet saying like, we've accomplished everything we've accomplished as a part-time band, and it's like, that's just amazing. Like that, I can't think of any other band who've managed to balance like 2 jobs. I think there's like and achieve so much, like getting on TV, getting on Scuzz, doing interviews. There's like a couple I can think of. I think there's like one from Australia. There's like Heart in Hand and stuff like that. There's a few bands. Bands who balance like real estate or insurance jobs with full-time touring. But that's amazing. And what do you think it was like? I think it was around 2009. I would say it was when you'd done a bunch of hardcore shows, and like you said, you started branching out. You played a show with Bring Me the Horizon. Did a big tour like to Brighton, Lower Atlantis, that tour where you went to like Brighton and all over the place. And I remember, I think you had like a double-page spread in Kerrang or Rock Sound or one of those ones. What do you think it was that got the band to go from this sort of North London local band to all of a sudden touring not just with metalcore bands, but having the unlikely or unorthodox level of exposure that you did sort of over the course of 1 or 2 years?
Yeah, I think genuinely it's because a lot of maybe booking agents or promoters didn't really know where to place us. They knew we had something different, but they didn't know what bill we best suited, and we were absolutely fine with that. And I was always of the belief that, you know, if you want exposure, get in front of as many people as possible. It doesn't matter if you're not their cup of tea. If you can win over like 2 or 3 fans of a room full of 500 or 1,000 people, amazing. They tell a couple more. And I think that was a bit of a conscious decision on our part as well, though, to like try and play with different types of bands, not just pigeonhole ourselves into, you know, the London hardcore scene. As proud as we are of coming from that, and as much as we love playing hardcore shows, it's always nice to like see how we go down with a different audience. And sometimes, actually most of the time, that's where I have a lot of fun on stage, is trying to win that type of crowd over. And it's a different kind of energy, because, you know, you come on stage and at first they're a bit like, this is a bit weird, I don't really get it. But once they get into the show and they see that we're enjoying it, we tend to win quite a few people over. So yeah, ultimately I think we just have a bit of a unique sound. So a lot of promoters struggle to know where to put us.
Yeah, I think you were relentless as well, though, because it was like
Yeah,
play gig, and it wasn't just like play North London. It was like play Brighton, play Oxfordshire, play Guildford, play Cardiff, go to Norway, go to
yeah.
Belgium.
I think you have to for any like up and coming musicians. I know this is before. Um, I mean, social media was about, but I don't think it had the power that it does now. Like bands can blow up on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube before even playing a show. You know, people can have like a massive following, release an EP, merch, all of that. And I think that's in one way it's fantastic. But back then, I feel like we were just at the part where you had to keep putting in the graft. You had to do the tours. You had to play the shows. You had to get in front of people. You had to win people over in person. And I know you have to do all of that now, but yeah, God, I do sound like I'm an old codger, like reminiscing about the olden days. But I think it's all part of it, and yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, I agree. Like you do really have to tour. I at the moment I can't remember the name, but there's a British band and a Slovakian band and an American band. They're all touring and they're doing like Germany, Poland, Czech Republic in the height of COVID.
Mm.
And
Mm.
it is if you do blow up on social media, like for example, your
Mm.
YouTube video gets a bunch of hits or something, that's like
Mm.
that's an anomaly. There's like only that happens to like two bands out of every like 50 metalcore bands who all sound the
Yeah,
same as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Did
yeah,
you,
yeah.
did you find because of that obviously you started getting picked up a bit and like obviously the press were like, okay, we should check out this band, do a photo shoot of this band, interview them, put them in the thing. Was you mentioned the booking agent, and that was my next question about Scuzz.
Mm. Mm.
Was that through a booking agent, or was that them being like, no, no, we need to find an upcoming band?
Yeah, I think so. Like Scuzz championed us early on. Like I remember just getting a message saying like your video for Bastards or I don't know, if London's Best Loves You a Bastard. That one of them went straight on to Scuzz. I was like, wow, that's like huge. And then whenever we released a new video, they were always the first to play it. So yeah, I've got a lot of love for the love that they showed us early doors. And it was always quite weird just flicking through the music channels. Then you see your own face on there. You're like, oh, it's me.
Yeah.
But they were really, really supportive right from the get go. But I think when I used to watch Scuzz back in the day, like they always liked, I felt, to champion younger British bands and try and find like a breakthrough sound because ultimately it's good for them, right? If they find something that's new, it's more eyes on their channel, more people checking them out. But yeah, they were always really supportive. And I think from being on there and doing those kind of tours, that was around the same time we got nominated for like a Metal Hammer Best British Newcomer, Best British Band Award. I think we lost to Saxon or something like that. It was still good fun, still good to turn up. Like, yeah.
That's really cool. I do remember that actually. I remember back in 2005, 2006, Scuzz was playing a lot of God Forbid, Over My Dead Body, those bands who are hardcore and punk rock and weren't very well known. It's really cool they did that, especially as they are a UK, based company. When you're in a process like that, like you've got like a video that you've put out on YouTube and you've got on your MySpace, if they want to play it, like, do they email you and just say, hey, can we have a copy of that? Like, can you send us the MP4?
Yeah, pretty much. So I think around that time, when did that happen? Yeah, we had just started working with a manager who was actually Stu from Gallows. He was the bass player in Gallows, Stuart
Okay.
Gilly-Ross. And he was managing us for a little bit. And he messaged us saying, listen, I've spoken to the guys at Scuzz. So I guess he got it from the guy that edited it and just whacked it over. So that was pretty much how that. And then they always had an interest in new stuff that we were putting out. So
That's
yeah.
so cool. Yeah, because you did a lot of music videos, and I think that's also one mistake a lot of bands make is music video is just marketing. It is a musical marketing campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of bands just think, put a song on MySpace, put a song on YouTube with a lazy lyric video.
Yeah. Back then, that's, to be fair, I think that was one of the reasons. Like out of like the London UK hardcore bands, we were the first to start like putting out videos. We're like, sod it, let's just blow a load of money. Let's see what happens. And I still to this day love doing a video shoot. Like I still get excited about doing it. There's something fun about the creative part when you're trying to think about concepts and all of that. So yeah, that's really good fun. I think we were one of the first to start doing it, and then then Scuzz cottoned on, and then lots of other bands started doing it. So
Yeah, that's the thing now, is the DIY music video. I see a lot of metalcore bands these days. They're doing the warehouse or the field or like the abandoned alleyway or renting out a bar or something. They get a couple friends with some VX 5000s and some Sonys and some Canons, just pan around.
Running around.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, we always try to do something a little bit different with our videos. I know we have done like the odd like empty room warehouse type thing, but when we did like London's Greatest Love Story, we tried to make it an actual like story video.
That was cool.
I remember Heartless. Yeah, it's good fun.
The Bastard one I think was really, really cool, and also the We Bring War one was fantastic. And what was it, a few years ago you did the one with the rehearsal space? Mona,
the comeback single, Mona.
That was brilliant, with the rehearsal space. And I think now you mentioned Gallows, that would be a really good band to interview. So I'm going to write that down, Gallows, because that's do
it.
They were.
If you want me to put you in touch with Stu, let me know.
They were so innovative back in 2006, because they were also, for like Abandoned Ship and Belly of the Shark, they were also doing the music videos. And
they were great.
Yeah, they've had a really, really good career. So you did Scuzz, and then 2011 rolls around, you're still doing like Download Festival and all of that stuff. 2013 you release a really big album, and then two members jump ship to go full time with a band that only lasted about 3 or 4 years. When you were like sort of rearranging that, because that was right after like We Bring War and stuff.
10,000 hours and that lot.
10,000 hours. Because I noticed Anthony wasn't on that album very much as well. Was there like a reasoning behind that it was just like balancing careers? And
exactly that. It got to the point where we were deciding, because Nation, we'd just done Bright Lights, and then the album you're talking about is Nation, and we got to the point where it was like, right, if we're going to tour this, like, Ant, are you going to be able to do it? He's like, no. So we made the decision, listen, don't leave the band. We just won't put you on as many tracks on this album, so that if we tour it properly, I can do it and on like a solo, or just get fill-ins now and again. Because we never wanted him to leave. We knew that was never going to happen, because it wouldn't be TRC without Anthony. So we just made a decision, right, for this record, I'll just appear on less track, or he'll just appear on less tracks. And so it was good. Like, there was good songs on it, but I feel it was a bit hit and miss. I feel like Nation had like 5 really good tunes, but then 5 average rushed tunes. So even though people say they like it as an album, it's not my favorite. But I feel TRC have been like that, if I'm being honest, like on all our records. There's been like 5 or 6 bangers and then a few too many fillers. So if we could have just like combined the 2 records, then we would have been like massive. But it is what it is.
I think my favorite was Bright Lights. I remember listening to that a lot about 10 years ago, but I also listened to Destroy and Rebuild a lot, because I think that one was obviously the heaviest one, because that was when you were still like very much hardcore. Had some really
just raw,
really hilarious songs on there as well. You had like Cocky Is Back, and what was that one? I can't remember the name of it, but it's that song.
VIP.
That's exactly it. Yeah, where you're talking about how, like, all these fat pricks need to dress better and stuff like that. Which, if that happened now, like that
we've cancelled.
Yeah, cancelled.
Like,
exactly.
Half our lyrics would have had us cancelled, man. If I listen to like God, Define Cocky, Temptation, bloody hell, we'd be cancelled like that. But thankfully we can get away with it.
Yeah, of course. But people understand by now. I think when Define Cocky was released, people didn't really get it. They didn't understand. They didn't understand any of that. And the
No.
Bright Lights album I liked because it had like an influence of metalcore, probably coming from Charlie's,
Yeah.
the guitar player's writing style.
Yeah.
And then combine that with the synthesizers and stuff. And there's one song on Nation. Didn't you have Gwen Stefani on one of your songs, or someone who sounds very like her?
That's exactly like Gwen Stefani. Yeah. So I just tell people it is Gwen Stefani now. It's not. It was a girl called Tiffany Page. She was like she had a brief pop folk career for a little while. Charlie knew her. I wanted to get Mikey from Mallory Knox. So did the other guys from the band. But that didn't happen in the end. I thought it would have suited it better. But it's a bit, it's an okay tune. I'm not sure how I feel about that track, if I'm honest with you. But
I like it. But I like that. I like the creativeness. I think that's the great thing about like someone like Charlie, who's played in about 9 bands, like the King Blues, TRC, 50 Caliber, Bund 'Em Out. He's like played in every band from every genre possible.
Yeah, so he's got lots of influences, which is really cool. Like it's really cool. He was a fantastic songwriter.
And Ben's also really talented. He was playing in Prowler before he joined TRC, wasn't he? So
he was indeed, yeah.
He's a real hardcore kid through and through.
Yeah.
And was there any talks? Because obviously, Charlie, the Cell, they wanted to go join this band, which had a member of like Bring Me the Horizon in it. It had a member of, was it Heights? I think was a member.
Heights, Heights. The singer.
There's a really cool band, and they're like doing lots of touring. I saw them at Download Festival back in I think 2016, 2017. And I think that band lost a bit of momentum. Were there any talks to bring him back as well?
No,
he's over it.
No. Sometimes he's like filled in for us, but I think once he made a decision, he was like, "No, I'm going to go do Counting Days." We were like, "Good luck with it, mate. It's not going to be TRC, but we wish you guys the best." And we just knew that we thought then we took a bit of a break. We were like, "Well, do we want to carry on? Don't we?" And we left it like 2 years or something. And if we thought, "Sod it, we'll just carry on. It's not going to be the end of us." And then Ben started writing some tunes, and they turned out all right. I think the only thing with like Charlie was like phenomenal, but I think the thing with Counting Days, like it just sounded like so many of the other metalcore bands out there, and I think that's why no matter how talented the tune he is as a songwriter and the tunes were, I think that's why they didn't like do what they thought they were going to do. I think with TRC, whether you like it or not, it's such a unique proposition. It's hard to like replicate and go do that again. So I think the fact that me and Charlie used to clash so much was the reason that TRC was so successful. Yeah. Like that's what it needed. It needed a bit of like banging heads when we were writing tunes. That's what made it so different.
Yeah.
So
gold medal music and stuff like huge.
The
riff on that, the da 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 da. That's like one of my favorite run songs, especially as when I'm running. You actually say in the song, if you're out on that run, it's 1 more
mile. 2 more miles. 2 more miles. Whatever it is. 10 more miles. I can't even remember the lyrics, but something like that.
Yeah, I listen to that sometimes. Like I've done ultra marathons and stuff, so like it's a good song to listen to.
Good.
And I think that's cool that you can just kind of work with what you've got. Like if Anthony's not there, cool, make it a more rappy song or something like that.
Yeah.
And, I didn't realize that you'd done like full shows and full tours, either without Anthony, but also with Charlie filling in and stuff like that. It's been, you just, the booking agent books you and you're like, all right, let's do this. Let's make it.
We've got to do it. Yeah. So I've never done like a show on my own, but we've had like Nathan from Prowler fill in when Anthony hasn't been able to do the parts, because Nathan's one of my best mates as well. So it was easy to just jump on and get him to help out. Nowadays we have to say no to a lot more shows because we've only obviously, I guess because of the pandemic now coming back again, just trying to play shows, it's a bit tougher, but we're still going. Like I think in terms of longevity, and then the nice thing is we're never going to be as big as we were around like Sonosphere, Download times, Nation. but we can still go up and down the country and you know, sell out shows. It's great. We did Bournemouth on this last run, that was sold out. Manchester, same. So it's great, man. It's great.
Yeah, not many bands can do that, especially 20 years in. I've seen bands from 2004, like the Ataris and a bunch of hardcore bands. They're
Oh
playing
yeah,
yeah, 50 people tops in some like venue in like Guildford or Prague or Warsaw, Poland, somewhere pretty obscure, you know, like.
But hey, listen, man, even if like, and we'll play some places that, you know, it's like a smaller turnout, but that doesn't matter. If there's like 500 or 50 people there, you're still going to get TRC. You've got to play to the people that are there, right? Like, so it's just like when you go to the cinema, if only 2 people turn up, this film is going to be just as good or just as shit, but it's still going to be the same performance, right?
Yeah. Was there ever any sort of annoying fans or anything that's happened during a live show that's made you think a bit like, oh, that was irritating? Or is it just all sort of like, oh, it's fun with that drunk guy, it's fun when they like grab the microphone from me?
Yes, I mean, sometimes you're always going to, yeah, taking the microphone's fine, because half the time I forget the lyrics anyway, so I'm just like, oh, you can do it. But yeah, you always get some people that get a bit too pissed, but that's fine, man. It hasn't never really ruined a show. Sometimes you get the odd, like, very rarely, I can count it on like 2 fingers, fight that's kicked off that you have to step in and stop that and make sure everyone's okay, and then, you know, everyone's enjoying themselves and no one's hurt. But no, not really. There haven't been too many annoying people during shows, I must say.
Oh, that's good, because I still have like PTSD. I don't drink anymore, like at all. Like I smoke quite a bit of weed, but I do not drink. And one thing that I'm really bad with when I'm drunk is either doing stupid shit, or if it's a hardcore show, getting just a bit too out of hand. And I remember like a decade ago, I think it was like the Islington Garage or something, like me and my brother got up on stage with you and then was stage diving. And I was like, man, like, I wonder if he remembers that, because I was such an asshole. But then I was like,
That's
no,
good. No, that's fun, man.
it happens every week for them, like sometimes multiple times a week. Like they'll play a show on a Saturday and a Monday, which you did actually. I remember you played, like, I think it was Guildford or Kingston or somewhere, like on a Saturday, and then you went to play Islington Garage on a Monday. Like that's like just so amazing for 6 guys with a job. Which actually brings me to my next question. So recently you did have another member, was it Ollie, drop out, shoot off to Australia, I think it was. I only know that because he made a cameo appearance in your one of your music videos.
Mona, yeah, on the phone.
Where he's in Australia, and I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. Like, it's a good way to announce that, like, you've got a
yeah.
So the current lineup, you've got Ben playing, and you've still got you and Anthony, and your drummer, Malefis guy. Fuck, I forgot his name. He's
James.
Yeah, that's it. I was gonna say Jordan for some reason, but I was like, no, it's
James.
James.
Yeah, and it's so James, and then Sam, our newest bass player, and it's so weird. It's all come full circle. Just clocked that actually. It's all come full circle. We all went to Mill Hill County School, all of us. The whole band has gone back to like year 7 and 8. So everyone went to Mill Hill County. I think James did. Did he go? I'm pretty sure he did. I can't remember.
Wow.
But he was definitely in the Mill Hill music scene anyway.
Wow, what are the odds of that? And yeah, Malefis, James's band, were also doing really well a few years ago as well. They've got a bit quieter lately.
Yeah.
But it's just a really, really cool. Was there any, like, because Lower Than Atlantis as well, they were like, oh wow, and you actually,
they were huge,
yeah, you mentioned them in one of your songs, TeamUK. You mentioned a bunch of UK bands, Bullet for My Valentine, Lower Than Atlantis, Bring Me the Horizon. They're all blowing up like that. Do you have any cool stories from Bring Me the Horizon, the Lower Than Atlantis tours, anything like that, which is just like, whoa, that is just so surreal that you wouldn't witness that in like any other situation in your life?
Oh, good question. Major. Did anything major happen? Not that I can think of.
Just
Nothing,
your usual
nothing. But
guys.
I mean, just good tours. Just
Yeah,
the usual. What goes on tour stays on tour. That kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah. The usual like guys get drunk, throw up on stage, all of that stuff.
All of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's TeamUK again. Like that's off the Nation album, isn't it? And that's just like
Yeah.
yeah, it is off
Yeah,
Nation.
it's just a big up of just, I think, because that's when, whether it was metal or hardcore or grime or hip hop, like everyone was proud to be representing UK music. So hence why we wrote the tune. Because before that, there was a period where no one really listened to like UK rap music. Do you know what I mean? It was like everyone was just listening to like US rap music. UK metal bands weren't playing massive festivals. They weren't like the talk of the town, and it just got to that point where everyone was like, actually no, we can do this for ourselves. Like, cheers to the Americans, it's been good fun, but we can do this ourselves. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's a bit of an ode to every genre, not just like metal and hardcore. It's like just, yeah, it's good fun.
that's cool. And on the album before that, on Bright Lights, you actually re-recorded some songs for that
Yeah.
album, Define Cocky, London's Greatest Love Story. Did you prefer the re-recording process, or were you no, you wanted the original?
Nah. Yeah. I definitely. I think the sound quality obviously was a bit better with the production, but you never get the same rawness and the same energy with a re-recorded version. I mean, it sounded nicer, and we want to just put them on there because they're like quite big hits, if you like. But yeah, you never get the same energy from a re-recorded tune.
Yeah, I loved Haters and Go Hard and Go Home. I think that's Go Hard or Go Home. That's definitely heavily influenced by you lyrically, and
Yeah,
like the actual kind of the rhythm of it. The the for Pete's sake you're not from New York City
yeah,
and stuff like that. With a really kind of filthy kind of riff written by Charlie. I would say that's my
yeah.
yeah.
Great riff.
Is that one that you now open with and or close with permanently?
No, so haters we do. Ever since we wrote haters, we've always started every single show with it. So one promise you'll always get if you come to see TRC and you like haters, make sure you get there for the beginning because we always start with that. Go Hard or Go Home. It's probably in the set 70-80% of the time. I really like it. Yeah. 70-80% of the time we'll play that. Sometimes it gets dropped out.
In
Just to
favor of
keep
what?
things fresh.
Yeah. Do you
We
finish
don't really do like one in, one out. So yeah, we finish with Define Cocky, or we finish with what do we finish with? Usually Define Cocky. Yeah.
Nice. And a few years ago, you also recruited a bunch of members from other bands. There was Ben, obviously, who was in the same scene. Miles, who was in the
Yeah.
same scene or similar scene anyway. I don't know
Yeah.
how he met you guys. I knew him briefly when I was younger as well because we grew up in the
Oh, okay.
and there was
Yes.
Western. Yeah, it's just it's always been
Chop change. But the two that have been there is me and Anthony, and it wouldn't work. Not that it would work without like Ben or James or Sam, but like the linchpins throughout the thing has been me and Anthony. Like because yeah, I just wouldn't do it without him, and he wouldn't do it without me. But yeah, so it happens, right? When you've got a band of that many people, in different stages of life,
yeah.
different priorities come up, and yeah, it is what it is, man. It's just the life and times of being in a band.
Yeah, well, I remember Miles got replaced with Ben, and that was obviously like a big move. Probably Charlie's decision, but it was a really, really big move because that's obviously paid off because now Ben, when you guys
Yeah,
play live, and obviously writing the lifestyle EP as well, like
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he's like integral to the TRC sound, I definitely think as well.
Yeah, 100%. Especially like the latter stages, like the newer EP. I mean, it's obviously all Ben, but he still captured that like TRC vibe with it. It's not as metal, and it might not be as heavy as the old stuff, I still think it's got enough groove and enough like, you know, bounce to be a TRC record. So yeah, I really like it. Lifestyle is actually one of my favorite tunes. To be honest with you, I really like the whole tune and the video for that. It's quite good.
Yeah, I love everything off the Lifestyle album, especially I love the inclusion of having Nathan doing the like
Take it.
yeah, the Take It. That was just incredible. After 2 years off to come back, I think it was like around Christmas 2015 you released that. And
wow, is it that long ago? 7 years.
yeah, Christmas.
Yeah, probably.
2015 you released that, and it was almost like a celebration of everything that TRC had done for the last decade, because it was a heavy AF song. It had guest vocals on it from Nathan, which is sort of like a TRC tradition, and then
yeah. He still hasn't returned the favor and put me on a Prowler track though. Screwing.
I know. Well, I think they're too heavy. You can't have like rapping.
I'll see. I'll do my worst. Don't you worry.
And the black and white music video, like everything, you know, you guys were ahead of the curve, and I think that is why you blew up. That's why Scuzz took notice of you. That's why like every other hardcore band, even though I love hardcore, I love going to hardcore shows, and every hardcore band has something unique to offer. For example, some hardcore bands can have like more of a skate punk influence. Some hardcore bands can be straight up like filthy New Jersey, New York, sort of hardcore. What's that band? Did you see that band? They played a festival a while ago, and the lead singer is a big guy like you, big muscular guy, and he starts doing the Running Man.
Oh yeah. I can't remember what they're called. I want to say not Turnstile. It's not Turnstile. Who is it? I know who you mean. I've seen the video. Yeah, I've seen the video.
Yeah. Like there's that kind of hardcore, which I still watch that all the time because it just makes me laugh so much. The Running Man, and like
it's great.
And but then again, like some of those bands can be not a dime a dozen, but too similar without anything unique to offer. They're lacking in the music videos, or if they do have a music video, it will just be tour footage put together on iMovie. You know, you guys were ahead of the curve. You marketed yourself incredibly. You had a gimmick, real gimmick, and that gimmick was acting like cocky, arrogant guys.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah, definitely. I look back on some of it now and cringe, but it did its job. Do you know what I mean? It did its job for putting us out there and getting the tunes and the music. It got people talking, and at the end of the day, it was all about publicity. So yeah,
I'm sure some of the biggest bands like Mudvayne and Slipknot, and I'm sure they look back and are like, that was a bit stupid what we did.
Yeah, it's all part of it. I think that's with anything though. If you don't look back and cringe at your earlier efforts, you didn't launch soon enough. Do you know what I mean? I think you've got to see that evolution, and you've got to look back and be like, oh, that was a bit naff. I think it's all part of any creative project.
It's like people say that successful people became successful because they failed 100 times or something like that.
Yeah. Definitely, 100%, 100%.
I love that. Yeah, no, I love that you guys figured that out way back in 2008. You were like, we need a gimmick. What's the gimmick? Okay, let's have lots of lead singers, at least 2 vocalists. Let's have sort of a cocky slogan. Let's write things like not about death and punching people and killing people. Let's be the anti that. Let's be the well-dressed, smart guys who have good jobs but are hardcore, and let's shoot music videos and let's promote the shit out of ourselves. And that's what made you go from like London hardcore band to like Sonisphere band in the course of like 1 or 2 years. It's such a good lesson.
Yeah.
Such a good lesson for anyone trying to do anything in any business, music, YouTube, whatever it is.
Such a good lesson for anyone looking to sell out. Not joking.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for talking with me today and answering my questions. And is there anything you want to add before we go? Because you did just wrap up a tour. You might want to announce any international dates or festival appearances or upcoming tours or anything like that.
Yeah, well, first things first, man. Really appreciate you asking the questions. Appreciate you going away and doing your research and coming up with more facts than I would have been able to remember. So thank you. It's good to take a trip down memory lane. I've enjoyed talking to you. Secondly, TRC announcements. Yeah, we've got some shows coming up this spring and summer. I think we're announcing them on social media within the next couple of weeks. So I can't say too much, but both UK Run, Europe, a couple of dates out there, gigs and festivals. So looks like it's going to be a busy period for us again. Better start doing what I have to do to get like tour fit is I do skipping, and then I like practice the lyrics as I'm skipping, because that's the way I can get my like cardio up, so I'm not absolutely knackered after the second track. So yeah, looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, that's
and
really...
thank you very much.
What I'll do is I'll link the TRC Instagram in the description, but I think it's a TRC_London1, isn't it? TRC_London.
Yeah. If you say so, I'm going to check. Yes, it is. You're right. Well done, man.
Alrighty. Thanks so much, man.
Thanks, mate.